I follow up on the story we brought to you yesterday with doctors in Melbourne writing to Premier Daniel Andrews, talking about real stress, real health stress in the community, pleading with him to actually ease restrictions. Now, the lead author, if you like, of that letter to Daniel Andrews was Dr. Stacey Harris. She joins me now. That letter was co-signed by 8 other GPs and a professor. Stacey, thanks for joining us. You wrote that letter last week. On Sunday, Daniel Andrews announced some easings of restrictions. For instance, he got rid of the curfew. Where are you placed now? Are you happy with what you've done?
No. I'm happy for primary school kids to go back to school, but why year 7 to 10s are not allowed? Why can't all school kids go back? It's beyond me why certain groups can and certain groups can't, and that's the school sector. And as for other restrictions, with the numbers that we're showing, I still don't understand, as a lot of people don't, why we still are, I guess, in this lockdown.
Don't start me on schools, Stacey. I've been talking about this for 6 months now. There was never any medical advice to say kids shouldn't go to school. They never should have been forced away from the classroom. And even now, even the primary school kids only, as you say in Victoria, are not going back till the second week of the next term.
That's right. That's right. They're online for that week and then they go back the second week. I guess there's no reasoning behind it with the numbers that we have now, other than, is it an elimination strategy to eliminate the virus, which, as doctors, we all know you can't eliminate it. So why can't we open and live safely as much as we can with this virus? Why can't our dear children and kids and teenagers who are on the verge of, suiciding, or some of them, and very, very much depressed, all because they're not just going back to school? That's a simple solution.
Now, Stacey, on this program, you would have been too busy in your surgery to watch this program over the last 7 or 8 months, but we have been constantly talking to medical experts and challenging all the rules put in place, because there's so much medical advice saying they were not necessary, such as the stage 4 lockdown and the curfews. But you as a GP and your colleagues get to see face-to-face the human trauma caused by the lockdown. Tell us about what you believe are the medical consequences, the costs, the medical costs of this that far outweigh any epidemiological benefit. Sure.
Well, mental health, just in that group alone, I feel like that's been blown out. In my career, I've never seen the amount coming in to see me. I'm one GP. I'm sure there's others. I know there's others. And we're all psychologists. We can't get into paediatric psychiatrists. We can't get into. So we're dealing with all these young kids. And then the government released the extra 10 sessions under the Medicare for mental health, which gives 20 sessions for psychologists. But that's all okay and good if we have the psychologist there, and we don't. And then again, talking about it is not going to ultimately. These kids need connection with their other friends. They need routines. They need to go back.
They love it. I mean, I've got 2 young fellas myself. They just love it and they need it. And I'm so lucky to have been living in a state where they've hardly missed any school. Just tell me on that. Of course, the lockdowns are a problem, and the not going to school and associating with their peers and the like. I wonder too about the language. Are we doing too much to frighten not just young people, I suppose, older people as well? When you've got a Premier saying things like, if you go and play golf, people will die, constantly referring to a deadly virus, overstating the nature of the spread of the risk before us.
Oh, look, totally. And that's another aspect I haven't even delved into, but I've got patients who are petrified to go outside. They're living in fear of this virus, that the news and what's being broadcasted is that, be fearful of this virus and shut yourselves in and be scared of it. And it's something that we have to learn to live with. If we could be all in lockdown and eradicate it and be done with it, then I'm all for it. But it's not the reality. The reality is we have to learn to live with this virus. Kids have to function normally and not have this mental health crisis we have at the moment, and it's going to continue. Sadly, this will just it's just snowballing from what I'm seeing.
Well, I think you're speaking so much sense. You do it from the heart and also from personal experience of mainstream Australians every day. Very brave of you to speak out, because I know that the forces will be lined up against you. Have you had much support from the public, you and your colleagues, since going public with this letter last week?
Yeah, I have actually. I've been surprised by the support I have had. I've had patients deliver bottles of wine and then flowers and chocolates actually in support, because they're saying, yeah, my kids are suffering, and thank you. I was quite overwhelmed with the support. So I have had supportive patients and colleagues and friends and family.
Great to hear that, Stacey. We appreciate your time and thank you for speaking out on this.
Thank you for having me.
Stacey Harris there, who's a Melbourne GP, very bravely and sensibly talking out about all the costs and drawbacks from these lockdowns, and they're never weighed up by these politicians who seem to want to over-govern us, I think. They're just struck by an authoritarian streak. Now,